If you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Hey guys, I'm back and it is Friday, January 4th, and it's 4:08 p.m. Eastern Time. I've heard that it's going to be remaining the 4th for the rest of the day, so I hope that that is the case. Let's get into some Q-related news. Now, Q has not posted. I wish he would, because I think that it gives us more of a sense of security that the plan's going forward and that we know everything's on track. But none of us have any control over Q, so I guess we just wait. And in the meantime, we can get into some Q-related news. Now, I am going to be, before I get into this, I do want to tell you that I am going to be recording another video after this, and it's going to be notebook related. And I'm telling you that so that you can look out for it, because it will not be named something that, would say what it was. It'll probably be named something like Nothing to See Here, Part 3. So I'm just letting you know that in advance so that you're aware and that you can look for it later on this evening, that it is coming up. And in the meantime, we will get into some Q-related stuff. Now, as usual, what I've done is I've just combed through different news sites and Twitter and what have you to bring you whatever I think you may find interesting, or things that I find interesting. So let's get started. Now, we all know that Elizabeth Warren has thrown her hat in the ring, and she's going to be running in the presidential election in 2020, which I don't know. I don't know if she's, prepared for the level of brutality that she will face. If you run with the big dogs, Trump's not anybody that I would trifle with, ever. Now, so far, I'm a fan of Donald Trump, so far. I say that because I want to reserve the right to change my mind later if he goes against any of the things that he has promised and so forth. But right now, definitely doing a fantastic job. And I don't think that I'd want to run against him in 2020. I couldn't anyway. And nobody knows who I am. But I just wouldn't, no matter who I was, want to run against Donald Trump. I wouldn't. I really don't think that there are any contenders, none, that are at his level. There just aren't. So Warren, she's opening herself up to, it's already started here with Donald Trump coming up with this campaign poster for her that says, Warren, 1/2020th, and I was joking too that she had, 1 in 1,024th chance of becoming president, which really is far too generous, because she doesn't even have a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning. She doesn't have a 1 in 7 billion chance of winning. Well, I think the Earth's population is getting up to 7 billion at this point, so she doesn't even have that. So yeah, she's not going to be president. That's not going to happen unless there is widespread voter fraud, which we can't rule out, can we? Because there's some people that have gotten into office that make me go, yeah, you know who they are. All right, so let's come down to this, and this is going to make you enraged. It certainly did me, because I don't think that this man has two neurons to rub together. I really don't. Now, this is Representative Hank Johnson. He's a Democrat from Georgia. And this is his quote: Donald Trump and his Make America Great Again followers are older, less educated, less prosperous, and they are dying early. Now, the first thing, before I even read on, my mind was already starting to spin here, and I was thinking, wait a minute, how does he quantify that? How do you quantify that? Where did you get these statistics? Or are you just making gross generalizations? Because I think that's what he's doing. It's obvious. Because number one, how does he know that all of Trump's supporters are older? And maybe they are. Okay. Let's just say they are older. Less educated? I don't think so. I run into very educated people in this movement. Very, very educated people. And you know, all of those educated people aren't just educated in degrees and so forth. Some of these people are just really smart, very smart. And less prosperous? I don't know about that. Less prosperous than whom? How do you quantify that? He's saying, oh, they're less prosperous. Well, less prosperous than who? You know? I mean, he's making, what, $174,000 a year? So, yeah, probably Trump supporters, a lot of them make less than that. Maybe some of them make a heck of a lot more than that. I don't know. But he's not quantifying any of this. Oh, and they're dying early. Again, how does he know that they're dying early? I mean, Trump's only been in office for 2 years, so where does he get these statistics? They're dying early. Their lifespans are decreasing, and many are dying from alcoholism, drug overdose, liver disease, or simply a broken heart. Okay, so wow, they keep statistics on broken hearts. I didn't know that. Were you aware of that? I mean, I've never, and I've looked at statistics. I mean, you know, in all my years of school and all my writing of essays, which I've written so many essays, you know, and had to look up statistics and stuff. I've never looked up any statistics that ever said this many people in this year died of a broken heart. Have you? Didn't think so. And notice the things he says. Alcoholism. These are the things they're dying from. Not cancer. Not, you know, heart disease, anything like that. No, alcoholism. That's what they're dying from. So, you know, Trump supporters they're poor, they're uneducated, they're old, uneducated, poor, and they're alcoholics and drug, you know, partakers. They're drug addicted. And liver disease, a lot of times liver disease comes from either alcohol or drugs, and or simply a broken heart. I guess nobody wants to be around them because they're Trump supporters. I guess that's what he's saying. Yeah, how does he get away with that? Really, how does he get away with that? Like, that is so offensive, extremely offensive. Yeah. Well, if I lived in Georgia and that was my representative, I would not be happy. You know, be I Republican or Democrat, because that just shows, well, it shows that he's uneducated and ignorant. Maybe more ignorant than uneducated. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. He doesn't deserve the time. So, now, this is something interesting, and I'm going to preface this by saying, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm bringing it to you guys. I want to do my due diligence and bring it before you guys and let you decide. Let you take a look at it and say, yeah, could be, or no, I don't think so. Now, I will tell you that I'm leaning towards, I don't think so. And we've had this whole hullabaloo about JFK Jr. Is he alive? Is he not alive? Now, I'll tell you, at first, I wasn't even going to look at it. Look at the fact that he could be alive, because I didn't believe it. I thought, no, that is ridiculous. Absolutely not. But as time wore on, I thought, well, you know, there's a lot of buzz around this, and I'm going to look into this and see what evidence do they have. Well, the more I looked into it, the more I was convinced, okay, this really could be. I wouldn't say I was 100% convinced, but I would say that I was up in the high 80s, 90s, convinced that, yeah, he's alive. And the more I look at that, the more I think, yeah, there's a possibility that he is alive. And we had the whole SCOTUS, Santa Claus of the United States, and then Mrs. Claus. And, you know, to me, Mrs. Claus, you know, when she was photographed at a Trump rally, and the picture was taken and compared with an earlier picture of JFK's wife, Carolyn Bessette, then, you know, to me, okay, that's the same person, unless it's a complete look-alike, a doppelganger, then that's her. But then this showed up, and I think it showed up yesterday. That's when I noticed it. I don't think it's been there any more than 2 days, and doesn't have very many followers, or at least it didn't when I looked at it. Only had a few followers. And this account says JFK Jr. at Kennedy 1960 John. Now, I'm going to go through and read these tweets for you, but again, I'm not saying that this is JFK Jr. I don't know. It seems strange to me. There's something very strange about this. So let me go through and read it. I don't know, you may have heard it, you may not. You may have seen this out there if you're on Twitter, or you may not have, because like I said, there was very, very few followers. Anyway, the first tweet was, "It's me." Next tweet, "You're on the right track. QAnon. 20 years in July," and what he's talking about, of course, is the accident, the plane crash, rather, because we're not sure if it was an accident or not. Pretty darn sure it wasn't. Anyway, 20 years in July. "Didn't take long for Twitter to attempt to pull my account down. I put a call in to a friend. I'm back up and I'm not backing down, ever." Now, this is interesting because there's no blue check mark on this account. So, it hasn't been verified that it's him, but you would think that Twitter would take this down. Maybe you guys know more about, because I really haven't been on Twitter that long. I enjoy it and I enjoy keeping up with things there, but I haven't been on there that long, and I'm not 100% sure of the rules, but I don't think you can impersonate another person. I don't think, I couldn't get on there and claim that I was somebody that I'm not, although there clearly are parody accounts, because a lot of times I myself have gotten fooled by a parody account. So, I don't know. But anyway, this person said they put a call in and their account was back up. So, don't know what to make of that. Now, here's the next one. "Very strange activity outside my place of refuge. I need to get this out there. I don't know how much time I have. Please spread it far and wide. The plane crash was real. An attempt on my life. Carolyn and Lauren were killed. I barely survived." Now, this right here is where I questioned, because I said, I don't know, because if he is alive, and that's a big if, then I know that was, if Santa Claus of the United States is JFK Jr., then Mrs. Claus was definitely Carolyn, because when they took that picture of her, earlier picture of her, and compared it with the older Carolyn Bessette at the rally, I mean, you could tell. You could tell this is identical. Could be a doppelganger, could be. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that if JFK is alive, so is Carolyn. Now, here's the next one. "Not knowing whether the rescue crews were coming to finish me off, I avoided them, secretly clung to one of the crafts, and was pulled ashore. I was able to disappear into town. I needed a place to hide, but didn't know who to trust." Now, this sounds too, did you ever see that movie Sleeping with the Enemy? That kind of, the whole scene that he described kind of reminds me of that. But anyway, and then he says, "Donald and I were good friends. He warned me that something like this could happen. We traveled in the same circles with politicians and movie stars, but he and I were never pulled into the darkness in which many of them lived. He said this made us targets. And then we discussed one day exposing this nasty underbelly of power and fame. On this night, soaking wet and freezing, my hatred for these people was immense. So, from a payphone with choppers overhead, I called Donald. He sent Keith Schiller, whom he had just hired, to retrieve me. I was brought to one of Donald's properties, and there I stayed for 3 years, regaining my strength and plotting with Donald how best to enact our plan. And then he ends with, "That's all for now." Now, I don't know, but there's something about this that just doesn't ring true, and I think it could be a psyop or it could be a LARP. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. Check it out. It is on Twitter under JFK Jr. Check it out and let me know what you think. And we'll go on. From there, we won't belabor that any longer. All right. Now, I wanted to show this because I think that this is important, and especially it's important to me as a Christian that people know this. And this is this was actually reported on December 25th, so it's a little bit old news, but it's still very, very important. And it says remains of Christians killed by should be ISIS, I believe, the Islamic State, rather. Okay, remains of Christians killed by Islamic State uncovered in Libya. The remains of 34 Ethiopian Christians killed by the Islamic State group in 2015 have been found in a mass grave, a branch of the Interior Ministry said on Monday. Islamic State jihadists published a video in April 2015 showing the execution of at least 28 men described as Ethiopian Christians. An official said Monday their bodies have been discovered near Shirt, the jihadists' former stronghold, until they were ousted from the coastal city in December 2016 by forces loyal to Libya's UN-backed government. Taha Hadid, spokesman for the Sirte Protection Force, told AFP that the bodies of 34 Ethiopians were discovered on Sunday at a farm near the city. According to the Prosecutor General's office, these remains belong to the Ethiopians executed by the Islamic State group. He added, the mass grave was discovered through confessions made by Islamic State members captured during the battle to retake Sirte, according to the organized crime department in Misrata to the west of Sirte. The bodies will be repatriated to Ethiopia once the national and international legal procedures are completed, the department said in a statement posted on Facebook. The remains of 21 Coptic Christians killed by the Islamic State in February 2015 were found last year near Sirte, all but one Egyptians, but their bodies were only returned home in May 2018. Now, it's interesting because and you don't really hear that in our news, and which begs you to ask the question, why? Why is this not news? There are Christians all over being murdered for their faith, for no other reason but their faith, and nothing is said about it. You know, we care more about the Kardashians and, stupid news. It's not even news. That is not news. When you turn into the news, you are wanting to hear global events, local events, national events, but that's not what we hear anymore. It's just bread and circuses. It's all entertainment, and it's not even true. So we can't even depend on our news anymore. We don't have a free press. The only people that are free are people like myself that are reporting on alternate media, and they're trying to silence us as well. So I don't know, but that needs to be told. The sheer numbers, and that's nothing. I know that they have gone into villages, they've herded Christians into churches and burned them, and it's hideous. But it's what's happening, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. So anyway, moving on from there, I've got this from Able Danger. Kevin Spacey threatens full disclosure of Hollywood deep state CIA connections. Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be suicided, because I bet you he's got a lot of information on the deep state and the cabal and the Hollywood pedophiles, him being one of them. So, he's kind of a dangerous person to let live in terms of the way they view things. So I don't know what will happen there. But Kevin Spacey's bizarre video in character as Frank Underwood is catching the eye of Hollywood, but not in a good way. Spacey, who faces a felony charge tied to a 2016 sexual assault allegation in Massachusetts, returned to social media Christmas Eve with a House of Cards-inspired monologue that appeared to criticize the Me Too movement while employing the fictional Underwood to defend Spacey. Of course, some believed everything and have just been waiting with bated breath to hear me confess it all, he says, as Underwood, who was killed off the Netflix series in November after Spacey was fired from the final season of the show. They're just dying for me to declare that everything said was true and that I got what I deserved. Wouldn't that be easy? If it was also simple? You and I both know it's never that simple, not in politics and not in life. So he was, and some people say that the cup that he was drinking out of in that video was actually a sign to the deep state that, he might talk. I don't know. It's possible. It was a very strange video. Netflix, Inc. is an American media service provider headquartered in Los Gatos, California, founded in 1997 by Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph in Scotts Valley, California. Mark Bernays, Randolph's great uncle, were Sigmund Freud and Edward Bernays. Now, don't know what that has to do with anything, although it's just, I guess, interesting. And this picture of him with Bill Clinton, good friends. Yeah, they all seem to pal around, don't they? Talking about the time they flew with Jeffrey Epstein on his private jet, and they did indeed fly together to Epstein Island, probably numerous times. But yeah, well, we know what happens there, so we can surmise. I don't think people go there just to sunbathe. That's all I'm saying. Really doubt that. So there you go. And let's go back. See what else we can get into. Oh, what's this? Can't remember. Oh, yes. Yeah. Retweet at Nancy Pelosi on POTUS, Bush at White House on Comey. I've said to him, New Yorkers have said to me he operates this way. Yeah, listen to this. Listen to this. She doesn't even know who our president is, and she is now Speaker of the House. And this is alarming because she's done this on numerous occasions. She has called President Trump President Bush, and I do firmly believe that she is struggling with some sort of dementia. It's quite evident to me because she forgets words, and we all do that to a certain extent. But, you know, you can tell the difference between somebody just having a brain fade moment and somebody that is really just all of a sudden lost. So let's listen to this. It's interesting. Maybe you've heard it.
New Yorkers have said to me, those who've had business dealings with him, he operates this way. First, he tries to charm you. President Bush tries to charm you. If that doesn't work, he tries to bully you. If that doesn't work, he walks away from the deal. And if that doesn't work, he sues you. So, charm, bully, abandon, sue. And I didn't...
So, and she goes on there, but I wanted to point that out specifically. And the other thing is, and it's so weird because whenever she says something and she thinks it's a good point, she smiles. Like, it's like, I don't get that. I don't get it. It's almost like, yeah, I said something clever. Anyway, I don't know. All right, that was my impression of Nancy Pelosi. Did you like it? Okay, I'll probably never make it as a comedian. Okay, here we go. Here is a couple tweets by Donald J. Trump, our president. And if you don't like him, he's still your president. Yay! Okay, Donald Trump, how do you impeach a president who has won perhaps the greatest election of all time, done nothing wrong, no collusion with Russia, it was the Dems that colluded, had the most successful 2 years of any president, and is the most popular Republican in party history, 93%? Yeah, tell me, Democrats, how do you impeach a president like that? That's what we're hearing everywhere. First, the Democrats just all ganged, and it's all, well, the one newly elected one, I can't remember her name. It's, I can see it in my head, but I can't remember exactly how to pronounce it. But anyway, she is a new representative, and she said, impeach the MFer. Yeah, she's one of the new Muslim congresswomen. So, yeah, and they're all talking about impeachment, but it's interesting, and we're going to get to that because somewhere I have Mike Huckabee talking about the impeachment, and I loved it. I thought he did a wonderful job because it's not going to work. They need, okay, let's say it passes the House. It still has to pass the Senate. And, there is a good possibility that it could pass the House because there's, it's divided, but the thing is, it's never going to pass the Senate because not only does it have to pass, it has to get 2/3 of the vote. That's never going to happen. And, you think of Clinton, being impeached, it's the same thing as an indictment, really. It's the same thing. You still have to prove those charges. Just because somebody's impeached doesn't mean anything. That's like saying somebody got arrested. Okay, well, they were arrested, but were they charged? Were they let go? What happened? So, yeah, Clinton was impeached, but nothing ever came of it because it didn't pass the Senate. It's the same thing. Nobody's going to impeach Donald Trump. He can't. There's no way they're going to get 2/3 vote in the Senate. So if you are one of these people that are worrying now, that thinking, oh, they're going to impeach him. No, they're not. No, they're not. Okay, well, they might. They might impeach him, but it'll never go anywhere. He's going to serve out his term as president. He's going to be elected in 2020. I mean, God willing and the creek don't rise. So there you go. Now here's the next one. As I have stated many times, if the Democrats take over the House or Senate, there will be disruption to the financial markets. We won the Senate. They won the House. Things will settle down. They only want to impeach me because they know they can't win in 2020. Too much success. Yes. He used to always say, you'll get tired of winning. Well, I'm not tired of winning. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. And to tell you the truth, I don't know. I've got a little bit of money in the stock market. I've been put a little bit here and there when I have any extra. And the stock market looks like it's doing real well today. At least mine were. Mine were all in the green. So I like to see that. So I do think that he's right. I think it is settling down. At least I hope. I'm no financial expert at all, but I'm hoping that it will. I still believe that there will be some sort of economic disruption down the road. I don't know how long down the road. Could be months, could be years. I don't know, but there will be. I don't know how that can be avoided. If you really do your due diligence and reading and so forth, what's happening, I don't know how that could ever be avoided. But anyway, I will leave that to those who devote their whole show to talking about financial dealings and financial items. So let's go down here. I think you'll find this interesting. Yep. I'm sure you, like I, have asked, how is it that these people get so rich? They're making, it's good money, $174,000 a year. That's good money, absolutely. But it's not the kind of money that you can buy multiple homes and, huge multi-million-dollar homes and with great big walls around them and security. I don't know how that happens. And it seems to happen pretty quick after they're in office. But here we go. Nancy Pelosi's brother-in-law is given $737 million of taxpayers' money to build giant solar power plant in the middle of the desert. Obama administration approved $1 billion in green energy loans days after failed Solyndra project due to be completed. $737 million handed to Crescent Dunes project in Tonopah. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Tonopah. Is that how you pronounce it? If it's wrong, could somebody put the pronunciation in the comments below? I would appreciate it. Nevada for 110 megawatt desert solar power plant. Investors include firm minority leaders, brother-in-law, and major Solyndra stakeholder. Republicans warn Energy Department is rushing $5 billion in loans ahead of Friday deadline. So yeah, now this is old news. It's old news. This is back in September 2011, but I didn't know that. It just kind of, shows that, these people and their families, it's like Maxine Waters' daughter, being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to deliver mailers. Things like that. It seems like they and their families get very, very wealthy. Just saying. All I can smell in here is this stuff that I got because my kitten, he chewed through my phone charger last night. He chewed through my computer wires. Now, thankfully, I had another computer cord, a spare one. Chewed through my television wire. Now, I don't watch TV, but it would have been nice to know that it worked. Let me see. He chewed through my blinds. He chewed 2 of my kitchen cloth kitchen chairs. Anyway, so I've got this stuff to spray on that discourages him from scratching and chewing. Oh, and he ruined 2 pair of leather shoes. Yes. Oh, and bath mats. Yeah. So anyway, I sprayed this everywhere so that he would not be chewing while I'm on air when I can't watch him. And that's all I can smell, and it's choking me. But, you know, welcome to my world. Anyway. All right, let's go back. Let's see what else we can get into here. Yes, this right here. Now this is new. I believe this was today's news, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. No, it's not. This is old news. I've had this before. So let's get out of there and let's go back. I didn't delete the link from the last time I did it. All right, so let's go down to this. Yeah, pick this up on Twitter. You know, I saw all these pictures, and I'm sure you guys have too. All these pictures of all these people, heads of companies, Hollywood people, royalty, the Pope. I mean, just about everybody that somebody has shown up at some time with a black eye. And I was really questioning that because I thought there's something to that. It's just not possible that all of these people have been photographed with a black eye. So I wondered if it had something to do with the adrenochrome and where they were injecting it. But no matter where I looked, I could not confirm that. But now I ran across this on Twitter, and it makes sense to me. It really makes sense to me. The elite inject their adrenochrome deep behind the eye where the serotonin receptors are located. They all get black eyes as a result. The ritual must get photographed. Child-killing freaks equals junkies. Yes, they are child-killing freaks, and they are adrenochrome junkies. So yeah, that makes sense. Why all these people are showing up with black eyes. There is Richard Branson. Now this isn't a really good picture. I've had other pictures that has it all laid out, and I will try to find that for you. But there's Richard Branson, Prince Philip. You know, all these Pope, I mean, George Bush, all of these people. I mean, this is just a very tiny sampling. If you go out there and look, there are tons of them, and I knew it had to be something that they were all doing, and it makes sense that they're having this injected behind the eye. It's leaving them with a black eye. It going into the serotonin receptors. Serotonin, of course, has to do with mood and regulation of mood. Of course, serotonin is really important in depression, in the regulation of depression, of course, along with norepinephrine and to a lesser extent dopamine. But anyway, it makes sense to me that they are injecting that behind their eye, and that is why they have a black eye. And apparently, so this person said, if they can be trusted, and again, I will say this needs to be verified further, but because I had already been thinking along those lines that they're probably injecting something to get that black eye, I tend to believe this. But apparently part of the ritual is being photographed. And it makes sense because don't they have to tell us what they're doing? That's some sort of unwritten rule these people have that doesn't seem to make sense to me, but it does to them. So it doesn't matter what we think. It's what they think that matters. So there you go. Anyway, let's move on from that and let's look at this. Whistleblower. Now, wait, this might be old too. I may have picked up a couple of links that I've had old links. Hang on. No, this is not. I apologize profusely. Okay, this is new. I know this because I just read this morning. And it's interesting. I don't care who you are. It's interesting. Okay, scientists transform sunlight into a liquid fuel that can be stored for 18 years. Yeah, breakthrough works like a rechargeable battery charged by the sun. Now, if this is true, and I have no reason to believe it's not, then this is huge. Huge. And actually, this is a little bit old too. Actually, it's from November, but it's still pertinent. I haven't heard anybody talking about this. It's hard to believe that we still use climate change inducing fossil fuels when we have a sun that's bombarding our planet with plentiful, clean, renewable energy on a daily basis. But fossil fuels do have one oft-looked advantage over solar power that has long prevented solar from truly emerging. They're a fuel. Solar power, for all its advantages, doesn't come in the form of fuel, which essentially means it can't be stored as easily. That could soon change, however, after a breakthrough development of a fuel capable of capturing and storing the sun's energy, and scientists are saying this fuel can store that energy for up to 18 years, reports NBC. Call it sunlight in a bottle. Researchers in Sweden have discovered a specialized fluid that works like a rechargeable battery. Shine sunlight on it and the fluid traps it. Then, at a later date, that energy can be released as heat just by adding a catalyst. It's quite remarkable, and it could be how we power our homes by 2030. A solar thermal fuel is like a rechargeable battery, but instead of electricity, you put sunlight in and get heat out, triggered on demand, explained Jeffrey Grossman, who leads the lab at MIT that works on the project. It's remarkably simple. The fluid is made up of a molecule of carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen that reacts to the presence of sunlight by rearranging its atomic bonds, which essentially transforms the molecule into a cage that traps the energy from the sunlight within it. Amazingly, this energy content is preserved even after the fluid itself cools down to room temperature. To release the energy, you simply pass the fluid over a cobalt-based catalyst, which causes the molecules to revert to their original form. This in turn lets the energy from the sunlight out of its cage as heat. And when we come to extract the energy and use it, we get a warmth increase, which is greater than we dared hope for, said Casper Moth Polson, one of the team members. This is rechargeable that doesn't lose capacity. Early results have demonstrated that once the fluid is passed through the catalyst, it warms up by 113 degrees Fahrenheit. But researchers believe that with the right manipulators, they can increase that output to 230 degrees Fahrenheit or more. Already, the system can double the energy capacity of Tesla's reputed Powerwall batteries. Needless to say, this has drawn the interest of numerous investors. Even better, researchers have tested the fluid through as many as 125 cycles, and the molecules have shown almost no degradation. In other words, it's a rechargeable battery that continues to take charge without losing much capacity over many uses. The most immediate application for the technology will be for domestic heating systems, such as powering a building's water heater, dishwasher, clothes dryer, etc. And because the energy comes in a form of fuel, it can be stored and used even when the sun isn't shining. It should even be possible to transport the energy via pipes or trucks. If all goes as planned, and it seems to be going better than planned so far, researchers estimate that the technology could be available for commercial use within a decade. Given the rapidly worsening climate change crisis, that couldn't come soon enough. And I agree. I think that this will change everything, and I want to do some research and find out when this starts to be manufactured, who they are, so that I can invest in it, because I think that that would be quite the investment. I don't know how something like that could fail, to tell you the truth. Really, really quite remarkable and truly a game changer if they can get it to the point where it can be brought to market. So let's go back and let's look at this. Now, I've heard this before. I've heard this actually from numerous sources, so I am running with the assumption that it's true because multiple sources have reported this, that Nancy Pelosi and Robert Mueller have been having an affair that goes back many, many years. Now, doesn't that just make you want to throw up a little in your mouth? Nancy Pelosi, it's been going on for years, and TMZ was going to break the news by Wednesday, so Mueller all but confessed. How much crazier can things get? Yeah, I ask myself that every day, and every day gets more crazy. So I've stopped asking myself because evidently it can get quite a bit more crazy. So Robert Mueller's steamy affair, steamy. Oh, it wasn't just an affair; it was a steamy affair. Ew. Um, ugh. Gotta get that out of my head, man. I need bleach for my eyes. Uh, okay, so he's all but confessed to his 13-year affair with Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, after Radar Online and TMZ announced that they would break the story. So there you go, people. Yeah, there's something. When you think your life's bad. Okay, now I'm going to just touch on a couple other things here and then we will wrap up. And there'll be another video tonight, like I said earlier. Now, this is not exactly, this was the 29th of December. It's still pretty fresh news, and I meant to keep getting to it, and it kept getting pushed off, but I did want to bring it to you. Mass grave of hundreds of babies to be excavated in Ireland. The site of a former mother and baby home near the town of Tuam will be excavated as part of an investigation into alleged abuses. And if you've ever read the story of that home, quite horrific. The bodies of up to 800 infants are to be exhumed as part of an investigation into religious abuses in the Republic of Ireland. It follows the discovery of significant quantities of human remains on the site of a former mother and baby home near the town of Tuam in County Galway in 2016. Irish Premier Leo Varadkar, I can't pronounce his last name. We have to pass legislation in the whatever, giving us, the government, the power to do the excavations. I'm not sure how to pronounce that either. Anyway, because for lots of reasons we don't have the power to do that, so we'll have to pass that legislation in the new year, and we'd envision carrying out the first excavation in the second half of 2019. In the meantime, though, we can start appointing the experts and the ground team who will be doing the actual work. So they are going to be going ahead with this, and you know, this was a home for unwed mothers, which were very, very popular, you know, back in the day. And of course, it was extremely shameful for a woman to be pregnant out of wedlock, and they would send them to these homes. But from what I understand, and I've seen actually a couple of documentaries on them, and I'm sure the one, if I'm not mistaken, was for here. But horrific abuses and deaths. And basically, a lot of the families just put the girls there and forgot about them. So, yeah, a lot of deaths there, just horrific abuse. And that, of course, happened not just in Ireland. There's other countries where this happened as well, but quite horrific. All right, now let's go back. And yeah, I found this interesting too. I'm not going to go out there, but they were saying that the number of witches in the U.S. will outnumber Presbyterians. And that's interesting. And I'm sure you guys have heard, I didn't actually pull up the specific site or anything for this, but that the witches were complaining about Trump calling Mueller's, you know, investigation a witch hunt. Yeah, I know. I found that hard to believe too. I think that CNN is getting really desperate when they start doing things like that, having witches come on and saying, oh, you know, he's got to stop calling it a witch hunt because it's given us witches a bad name. Whatever. So let's see what this is. I can't remember what this is or whether it's important. Might be part of the same article, actually. Yeah, it's the same article. Number of witches in U.S. on the rise may surpass 1.5 million. Now, I would suggest, personally, from my own experience, and I have had experience in this. I had, not that I've ever been involved in anything like that. I haven't, but when I was I was doing social work when I was working on my undergrad, and there was, I had a client that was ritually abused. So I do know more about this stuff than I really want to know. And it's nothing to fool with. And I would say that there's probably a lot more than 1.5 million. I would say that. There's probably a whole lot more, because a lot of these people look absolutely normal. It's not the people that with the big pentagrams and the black robes that you have to worry about. It's the people that look normal. Those are the people that you have to worry about, because there's something called duplicity that they worship. And you've got to think about it. They say that Lucifer is the father of lies, right? And, God is the God of truth. And so the more duplicitous these people are, the more power they believe they have, because the very nature of Lucifer is duplicitous. He presents himself as an angel of light, and he transforms himself into a minister of righteousness. So the people that you have to worry about aren't running around there in the black robes and the big pentagrams. Yeah, okay, those people are maybe worshiping the dark side or whatever, but they're not nearly as dangerous as the ones that present themselves as, say, a pope or whatever. And I'm just using that as an example. But the most dangerous people are people that you would say, what a nice guy. Oh, they are just the most wonderful person. They go to church every Sunday. They do this, but then they have a whole other duplicitous side. Anyway, I won't get into all that. That would take a whole show in and of itself to explain all that and to give examples. But anyway, I'm going to end it there for now. And I will be back later tonight, so you can watch for that video. It will not be titled, something that you will know exactly what it is. So just look for that. I know if you hit the bell notification, you should be notified, but I've heard from many people that they hit the bell and they're not notified because they mess around with conservative websites. Also, if you want to be subscribed, make sure that you stay subscribed, because they do drop subscribers off every now and then. They don't like the conservative channels to get up too high, so they fight them. And so just you can make sure, if you do want to be subscribed, that you are. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will be back later. So look for me. And that's it for now. Bye-bye.